question from Yusuf, who is a brand new purple belt, and he feels like he's a phony. He feels like he's having imposter syndrome. So he says that the reason for this is that when he first came into the gym as a fresh young white belt, this is like 4 years ago, because he's been training for about 4 years now. He says 4 years ago, he started as a brand new white belt. He comes in, and these purple belts, there weren't that many of them, but the ones that were there, they were killers. I mean, they were just killing people. They were just beating up all the big guys, and they were amazing. And so now that he is a purple belt 4 years later, he doesn't feel like he's up to the same level of skill that those guys were at. And so he feels like he's an imposter. He feels like he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't feel like he's where he should be to be a purple belt. And so his question to me is, how does he deal with this feeling of being an imposter? And so Yusuf, thanks for the question, brother. And I'll talk about the idea of being an imposter because that's a kind of a normal thing that everybody goes through anytime we step up to a new level of skill. But I think the root cause of this imposter issue is the fact that you're coming into this view of what a purple belt is from this idealized place as a white belt. I know because I was there once. I remember when I got my purple belt, first off, I started training, learning from my coach who was a purple belt. I was a white belt, brand new, right? So I'm learning from a purple belt. And he might as well have been a jiu-jitsu god to me because I couldn't do anything to him. Now, about 2.5 years later, I got promoted to purple belt. May have been a little bit too quickly, although I was able to compete and be competitive at jiu-jitsu competitions and with other purple belts, so maybe it was fine. I would have liked to have been a purple belt a little bit longer, but nonetheless, promotes me in 2.5 years. Now, at that point, I was very much like you. I didn't like the idea, bro. I was like, there's no way I'm on the same level as this guy was just 2.5 years ago. There's no way because he was like a jiu-jitsu god and, I'm still just me. I don't feel like I could do that, right? Again, I had this idealized view of what a purple belt was. And I've seen this from some of my students as well. One in particular who's up on this wall here, who's a black belt now. I remember he had this issue with when I promoted him to purple belt. He was getting promoted to purple belt, and I remember he did the same thing. He remembers coming into the gym as a white belt back in the day, and there was just a handful of purple belts, and they were just monsters, and they were just trashing everybody, and they looked amazing. And he's like, there's no way I'm one of those guys now. But again, he was coming from it from an idealized view of what a purple belt is. By the way, I don't know, guys, let's take a quick field trip. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the wall. I don't know if I've ever shown this. So these right up here, all my black belts. So there's the bearded one, that's me, it's Chewster. And then right here you got Adam. I love that Adam's picture. He's so angry because he's so nice. So like some new student comes in who maybe doesn't watch the channel and know the spirit fingers, they're gonna see that staring down at them. And then we got there. And then of course Chad's picture got messed up and he's like literally the shortest guy there. And then we just keep walking down the line and we got all kinds of guys right there, a bunch of black belts. But we'll finish the video here. But anyway, so that's the idea, right? So that's first. You're coming from this ambulance. You're coming from this idealized view of what a black belt or a purple belt is. I think that's an issue. The second thing to consider is that, again, this imposter syndrome is very normal, natural. Anytime you step up to like a new level of skill, you're probably going to feel a little uneasy about your place. It's normal. You should probably feel that. If you don't feel that or don't have some sort of reservation about that, you're probably somewhat self-delusional. So you're having this feeling of imposter syndrome coming over. You can use it in a couple different ways. One is you could let it consume you and make you feel really insecure about your position, which you don't want to do that, right? What you can do though with it is you can use it to spur your training forward and use it as sort of ammunition, as gasoline to the fire, so to speak. So for instance, when I became a brown belt years ago, I remember I trained with my coach down in Nashville with Sean Hammonds, and I remember I rolled with all the guys that he had down there, and I wanted to take my damn brown belt off and throw. I was like, I'm not a brown belt. These guys were monsters, and I didn't feel like a monster. So when I came back up to training, I used that feeling of feeling like an imposter, and I used it to train more, used it to drill more, used it to practice my techniques more, and be more focused on my training and to improve. And what I also did later on is I started competing more at different things. And again, when I competed, it sort of cemented to me that I was where I belonged because I was able to do well or at least be competitive. And especially at black belt, this was important. And so what I would encourage you to do, use that feeling to push you forward. And then on the flip side of it, go do some competitions to see if you can, to be competitive or to win. and sort of submit the fact that you're there. And then if you maybe don't compete, then just roll with the guys in your gym or go to an open mat or something like that. Get some experience with these higher belts to cement to yourself that you are actually where you belong. And again, just trust in that a little bit and understand it's normal. So anyway, that's the video. Hopefully that helps you, Yusuf. Thanks for the question, brother.